Welcome to Footballogy, Beyond the Pitch, where we're thinking the game and living the lessons.
Absolutely.
This is where football becomes more than 90 minutes on grass, where the moments that echo long after the final whistle matter just as much as the goals, the tactics, and the victories. Here, we dig into the human truths behind the game. Because football isn't just a sport, it's a classroom that builds discipline and resilience, a mirror that reveals who we are under pressure, and a map that teaches us how to navigate teamwork, failure, growth, and belief. In this first episode, we begin the journey by asking deeper questions about the game, about ourselves, and about why football continues to move us, shape us, and connect us around the world. This is Footballogy, thinking the game, living the lessons. Let's go beyond the pitch. And with that, I say welcome to Chibike. If you say Chibike, you have to put an exclamation mark because that's what sets him apart from other Chibikes. He's here and we're doing this.
Yes.
This is Footballogy.
Yes.
Before I ask you why you started this campaign, this movement, this thing, tell us who Chibike is.
Well, Chibike is just a regular guy, run of the mill, moved to Canada 8 years ago? And, just a regular guy doing his work, trying to live day to day and trying to make an impact, not just in my immediate environment, but as much as I can to the world, because I believe that we were all put on this earth to make a difference. Beyond just making money and just living and existing and dying, we should be able to impact people. It may not last for 400 years like Aristotle, but at least to some considerable extent that you put down something on earth that will be a positive spin, a positive influence to those that will live long after you've gone. So that is the Chibike that exists now. That is what I am aspiring to be, the Chibike that inspires as much as possible, that teaches and that gives the best that of himself, not just to his family and friends, but to the world. So I'll just say that's the Chibike that is now, and that is the Chibike of now is walking towards being.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Ever the philosopher.
Yeah.
That's deep. Anyway, I'm sure there's a lot we can unpack there, but we're not going to get into that. At some point in these series, we'll talk more about him, his experiences, and why he's the way he is today.
Yes.
But today, Footballogy. Now, tell me, how did you come about? What's Footballogy?
So, Footballogy, first of all, is I coined that word. I'm sure I'm not the pioneer user of that word, but I coined that word to track my own progression from just watching football as a passionate soccer fan to studying football. Every subject that we used to like studying in the academic disciplines there's an ology behind it, which kind of shows that there's a consensus effort to study that phenomena, right? Biology, philosophy, and all those things, geography, whatever it is. So I felt that I started the transformation from being a football fan to being a studier, a student of football. Now, all of us, unfortunately, could not have become professional players. We tried our best.
Yes.
Some of us were not good enough. But again, I felt that there was something in it for us. And I think this discussion today was triggered, whether you believe it or not, as far back as in 1990. And let me explain.
Wow.
So that was my earliest recollection of really getting invested in a football match, and that was Argentina West Germany finals of Italia 90
World Cup.
And it was during the heydays of Armando Maradona, Diego. He was in that match. And we all get attracted to expansive, expressive, creative football. And of course, the West Germans being brilliantly but frustratingly efficient were just nullifying all the creative moves of that Argentine team, with Maradona at the end. And I was watching that match with my dad in our living room, and one of those opportunities, the Argentines missed a glorious opportunity to score, and I think my dad kicked one of the side stools and I kicked it across the room, right? And my mom came in and had this exasperated look on her face, like, what's happening here? Why? And she asked that question that kind of haunted me for a large part of their life. And that question was, what do you people gain from watching football? You don't playing it. The people that are playing it are making money, getting fame. You people are here killing yourselves over a game that does not give you anything. Me and my dad had this sheepish look in our face, and we're looking at her like, our normal response is, it doesn't concern you. If you don't like football, just go away. That kind of thing. But that question kind of sat in my mind. Being the kind of person I am, not being able to answer a question, it was bugging me.
Why am I doing this?
Like, why am I that invested? Like, I'm not getting anything from it directly. So that question kind of sat in my mind, maybe somewhere in the deep recesses. It wasn't something I was processing every day. No, that's not it. So, again, never lost that question. Of course, didn't dampen my enthusiasm for watching soccer. Whether I'm watching street soccer, watching it on the TV, during our growing up days, we had very limited opportunities to watch TV. For us, for me,
by 4 p.m.
for me, yes, and for me, one of the highlights of my week was every Wednesday, there will be this Rothman's football game on RSTV. I think it's channel 45, the River State Television, where they showed us South American football. We didn't even have access to Premier League. But as we continue to grow, satellite dish came around. We all started watching UEFA Champions League on Wednesday nights. We sneak out from home. Sometimes the matches will last as late as 11. We'll watch, come back, and take our appropriate punishment for watching it late. But I think my transformation as just a fan to being a studier of football kind of happened in the university, because as we started watching football, and I in university, I was lucky enough to meet a wonderful set of friends that I've remained close to till today. Unfortunately, we lost one of us, Ezekiel Minayo. May he so rest in peace recently. But that group of friends were also soccer mad guys who were also focused on life, but did not joke about soccer like I did. So we traveled wherever we needed to go to watch soccer in football, in our lives in the university. And I think, like I said, one of the things that flipped it was that gradually we started incorporating football terms in our day-to-day conversations.
Like we do now.
Yeah, like we do now. We started using, football to communicate in a way that non-footballers will not understand.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Are you a business leader who wants to make a difference in the world? You need more than fluency in strategy, marketing, or even sustainability. You must understand how business interacts with society. Hi, I'm the host of Business and Society with Senthil Nathan podcast. In the 30-minute fortnightly episodes, I promise to bring you the best ideas to develop you as a leader who can help shape business as a force for good. Join me as I discuss with some of the world's leading thinkers to understand the role of business and society. Subscribe to the Business and Society with Senthil Nathan podcast.
I still remember one of the few ones that kind of stood out in my head. There was a time Louis Saha moved to Manchester from Fulham.
Yes.
So the transfer fee was 12 million. And at that time, Fulham was like, no, we're not going to take 12 million or something like that. That based on what we were reading on the papers. Anyways, we don't have the full story. But I think Saha was quoted as coming out to say, well, 12 million was enough. Like, Fulham, take your 12 million, allow me to go to Man U and fulfill my career. Like, I don't see why you can't take 12 million. And, so we that kind of stopped with us because it was an anomaly for a footballer to interfere in transfer rumors and say, like, no, guy, collect this money and let me be. It was not a regular thing. So we started using this word when something is okay by us, or when something is enough for us. It's Saha, that kind of thing. And it was something we evolved. And as young men who were in the game of life, ladies and all that, whenever a close friend said, one of us said, this one is Saha for me, this is 12 million, right? This is 12 million, So eventually I started saying that there are so many things you could take from football other than the language, because when you watch these guys and you model some of your behaviors from the positive end, you learn some of the things they are doing, right? You could change your life. So I gradually came to realize that football could actually be a life mentor. You don't need to pay anybody to mentor you through life.
Just by watching it.
Just watch the game. Listen to the commentary. I was someone who was so passionate about my team, Arsenal, that I watched pre-game interviews. I listened to commentary. I listened to post-game interviews. Whether my team loses or my team wins. You listen to the way the coaches talk. What they say in defeat, what they say in victory.
Wow.
What they say when they get a result they weren't expecting. Like how players react, at least the curated forms we see.
Right.
And there were a lot of positives to take from that. And I was like, you could adopt these things.
And use it as
use it. And I can say I may not have used it perfectly, because if I had, maybe I would have been a billionaire now with so much money. So I would hold myself responsible for not taking on the lessons that soccer has taught me or football has taught me and making the best out of it for myself. But I have done it to a certain level. But I know I need to improve. There's room for improvement for adopting the lessons. But it was a huge mentor for me. It wasn't there, but at least the beautiful thing about football is it is audiovisual. So you're seeing it. You don't need someone, like, you don't need ideas to exist in space.
In abstract.
When we talk about discipline, you talk about people like N'Golo Kante, you talk about people like Gilberto Silva. Go and look at people that played in some of the most physically demanding positions and how they managed to hold themselves from incurring red cards and yellow cards every match. Gilberto, for example, as an Arsenal fan, I follow my teams. I also follow soccer generally. You followed Gilberto even before he came to Arsenal. He was known as the Invisible Wall. He was a defensive midfielder, but there is a certain discipline to how he plays that position that is unique. And he's called Invisible War because he is there doing his job, but not in the dirtiest, most Kaiseric way of it all. Yes, I'm sorry to call that one out. He can, in the first, I'm not sure I remember the details now. In his first season, I can't remember if he even got a yellow card.
For a DM.
Who got a red card rather, for a DM, and if he had a yellows, it was very few. And for a DM, and for me, that's one of the most difficult, fast-paced, most physical league in Europe. EPL. It's a remarkable achievement, right? So, that's for me. And I resolved that it would be lovely to write a book about what I've learned from football and what others can learn from it. But again, my procrastination, right? And recently, again, from soccer, from football, my brain kept on turning and I'm like, while you wait to finally write this great book of yours, why not start communicating? Use a podcast. Start putting that message out there. Start inspiring. Even if it's one person that listens to the podcast and starts saying, okay, my eyes have been opened to something that I have not been taking optimal advantage of. Even if it's one person that I'm able to convert to start watching soccer from a mentorship, from a study as a student, taking that Footballogy 101 is your course. As you stand in front of every 90 minutes you watch, extract a lesson for yourself from it, because there are several. There are several, too many. And the good thing about football, why I say study, is both the past, the present, and the future still have relevant lessons at whatever phase in your life you decide to do that. When you watch the past World Cup footages and watch the last World Cup, there's something you will learn. If you're a fashion designer, there's something to learn there. If you're a physicist, there's something to learn there. If you are into social media, there's something to learn there. If you are into discipline, if you are into physics, anything, there is something to learn. Anything,
nutrition,
everything, there's something to learn from it. And I decided to go this route and not just be selfish and say, let me be the only person studying football. I think I recall at one point my mom again, once said, would you like to be a teacher? I said, why? And this was before I even left university. Either when I just got into university or I was just about to get into university. I'm like, you might have a knack for it. I think you will do well as a teacher. And that kind of stuck with me as well. And I was actively working towards it back in Nigeria. I got my master's. I started off my PhD before, things just kind of changed, because the plan for me ultimately was I want to get a PhD, and then when I'm done with active corporate work, I might harness all that experience plus my PhD and all that, and then go teach the next generation. Of people coming up. And that thing has been in my mind. I'm like, as me and you, we have been talking every time. Retirement is not that far off, right?
No.
We often think it is one miracle thing. I used to tell, I think I remember I put something in my status where I told people that if you watched, I think which of the I can't remember, but I think we had a World Cup in when was that? We had Japan Korea. When was that? 2002,
I think. Yeah, 2000
and then Germany 2006. Yes, Yes, I think that was Germany 2006. I was trying to tell someone, if you remember the day you were watching Zidane headbutt Materazzi, if you were alive, conscious, and a full adult by then, I want you to know that the children that were born in that World Cup year will be 20 next year. So there's no time. So instead of waiting for this everlasting time that we will put out a book, let me start talking, because I don't know how many years God has left for me. So let me start talking. Let me start putting it out there through a medium that this generation understands more than a book. And that is why we are here today. And, to kind of expand what I mean by that Footballogy as well, even in the regular disciplines that we study in school, right? Let me take one, for example, the most abstract of them all, physics. I'm sure a physicist or someone studying physics would be like, what is there in physics that would connect football? A lot. For every in-swinger you see, for every outswinger you see, that is physics. That is physics in effect.
Some calculations.
That is physics in it. They may not have to sit down, show you the workings, and show before they apply it. But there is a calculation. They need to understand flight patterns. They need to understand trajectory. They need to understand how space affects the football. The type of ball even. And I will make example with the Jabulani that was used for the South African World Cup. That is on record unofficially as the roundest, smoothest ball ever used in a World Cup tournament, and it was the most conflicting. And in fact, that ball and how it performed has been a subject of certain research, even with NASA.
Yes.
With NASA, right? So that is physics in effect. It's not physics in theory. It's not physics in a book. That is physics happening.
Practical.
And a non-physicist, by the world's evaluation of academic discipline, Diego Forlan, was able to master that ball and applied it to his advantage. He remains the only person that had scored 5 goals with the Jambulani in the World Cup. And if you watch his goals, how he knuckleballs it, he was very deliberate and conscious in how he applied force and which part of the ball, which part of the leg to use to apply to that ball to get the maximum effect. Not everybody understood it. Goalkeepers were
confused,
in dread of that ball, because you could not calculate its trajectory.
Was just all over the place.
Now let's even talk about the one that is very famous, the Roberto Carlos goal against France in a friendly. That defied most laws of physics, because if you watch that ball in flight in slow-mo, it just doesn't make sense that ball from that distance went the way it did and still found itself on target, talk less of going into the post. And I encourage all of you to go watch that highlight again, right? So there are things to learn. Look at geography. This one is the most exciting one for me, and I'm excited to share this one. Bolivia. I'm sure you say, wait, what's the connection between geography and football? Bolivia, their former pitch at La Paz is about 3,300 meters above sea level.
Sea level. Altitude.
The altitude in that pitch is crazy. It's almost like you need a gas mask to play in that pitch. Why are they putting it there? They are naturally adapted to playing
that
there.
Environment.
Nobody coming there is naturally. So you are literally gasping for air in 90 minutes.
While they are running all over.
While they are running all over the pitch. Your technique, your profession, your skill does not come into play here. It's simple, optimal utilization of geography to their advantage. Now, something happened recently. In the last, I think from 2015 or so to 2024, they played a total of 21 matches in La Paz. They lost just 4 between 2015 and 2023. But between 2023 and the later part of 2024, they lost 4 consecutive matches. Now, I'm not assuming that these losses are the reason why they made the change. But guess what happened? Bolivia now changed their stadium to El Alto, which is even further higher up than the La Paz. It's actually measured at 4,100 meters above sea level or so. They've played 5 matches since they moved in 2024, and I think they've played like 5 matches. They've lost none.
Wow.
Won 3, drawn 2. In fact, their last win was against Brazil, 1-0. So they know what they are doing. If they didn't study their terrain, understand that we have this altitude advantage. Let's use it.
Right?
We did it. Even in Africa, we do it. Boy, I remember I was an avid follower of Enyimba. That few period that we were successful in the CAF Champions League. You know what used to happen? When we go to their stadium, because our players were all local players,
right,
they make sure they play the match at night when it is at this coldest. Our players were struggling. And then, in retaliation, when it is back in Aba, we make sure that the match is at 2 p.m. That the sun is at its maximum. They are literally panting like dogs because they can't handle the heat. Yeah. We are used to it. We can wear sweater in that 2 p.m. heat sun in Aba and still play. So everybody was the same thing with Canopilas. If Canopilas take you to their dusty, dry field,
rest in peace.
You will feel it. For every slide tackle, that slide tackle you used to do in your lush pitches in North Africa, you cannot do it in Sani Abacha Stadium. You're crazy. You want to go home with everything. Yeah, so so that's the thing. Everybody makes use of it. Even I was talking to you about this one. I know. Look at sports nutrition.
Right.
I told you about sports nutrition. I was really researching into it. A lot of people, there are a lot of things you will call Arsene Wenger, but what you will not call him is a professor of sports science, sports nutrition.
Yeah.
But Arsene Wenger single-handedly changed how footballers ate when he came in 1996.
Before we unpack all of these things,
yeah.
Let's, in your opinion,
yes,
why are people invested in football? You go in WhatsApp, there's a ton of WhatsApp groups of different clubs, and when games are going on, you see investment, emotional investment, and people just calling each other names just because the team isn't doing well, or because the team is doing well. Just one form of disagreement or the other.
Yes.
Why do we do this? Why do we punish ourselves, so to speak? Okay, I know Arsenal has a game tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Everyone is now like, we gotta win this. We have to win this trophy. Why do we put ourselves through this?
I would not arrogate myself the powers of a global psychologist to say this is what I have observed. But from where I stand, it is something about passion. And I think in a lot of ways, football mirrors life. Because we see ourselves, sometimes we transpose ourselves, we transpose our ambitions, our expectations, our hopes, our fears, everything we do, we transpose it on the team we love. And we expect them to give us those victories that we perhaps could not achieve in our personal life. So it for me, I think it serves as that. Some people take opium, some people take alcohol. There are some people that their release in life is watching their favorite team win a game. It happens to you, it happens to me. Sometimes my weekend is decided by how Arsenal's results
play.
If Arsenal loses, the whole weekend is more or less. I will try, but honestly, the way that weekend will pan out for me, I might go to the biggest, flashiest, glitziest parties that same weekend, and I wouldn't feel as happy as I would if I were just lying down on my couch for the rest of the week, with the rest of the weekend, like watching through highlights or watching other teams struggle. It could give me better joy than the biggest party ever. And that's just the emotional portion of it. I think I'm not speaking for everybody in the world, but I think that one, we project our expectations on our favorite team, and it's passionate. We cannot explain it logically. Something draws us to a team, something bonds us with a team, and most often than not, you stay bonded with that team for life. It's hard
to move.
It's hard to move. Even if you acclaim to the world that you've moved, maybe your team has become perennial underachievers, like we have been. And then some people are saying, no, I'm now a Real Madrid fan, I'm now a Barcelona fan. Your eye will still be in the inner recesses of your mind. Your eye will still be like, how is that my former team doing? And if they are doing bad, you'll be like, stupid people. You will come back and say, Hala Madrid or Barca for life. We know all that because you're emotionally invested. You're not going away from that. It could be as a result of following your older siblings, or for me, for example, if I might venture into that briefly, if I might venture into that briefly, one of the reasons why I support Arsenal is, one, I actually started following the English league intently when Celestine Babayaro moved to Chelsea. He was the only Nigerian of note. We had a fan Ikoku then, Chris Salako, but those ones we didn't identify with them. We didn't know them. But Babayaro was the first proper for me. We won the Atlanta, I think
gold.
I think before he even went, or after, I think it was in Anderlecht before he moved. I can't remember. But him moving to Premier League was when, opened up my, so, and then we were watching great players like the Gianfranco Zola. And then I used to detest Graham Lesu, because Graham Lesu was the one that was always benching Barbeiro. I was like, what's happening here? Why can't Barbeiro break into this team? And then, but my support was not permanent. I was more or less more into Real Madrid. Then I was enamored with Guti. Funny enough, not even the other glitzy. Yes, I was enamored with Guti. Of course, I loved Ronaldo, the real Ronaldo, and I loved a lot of their other players. But somehow, I loved Guti, I loved Santiago Solari, and all those other players. They were the players that kind of appealed to me. But one of the reasons why I kind of got into Arsenal was after Atlanta '96, Kano was supposed to make a move to Inter, and then I think he went. Yes. And then something happened. They discovered the heart defect.
Yes.
And it was amazing how the whole world of football just abandoned him. I remember watching some highlights of him when he was in America trying to do the surgery and all that, and everybody just signed off. Nobody was talking about it. And lo and behold, a Frenchman that has no connection, nothing. By the name of Arsene Wenger said, I'll give this guy a chance. And he wasn't coaching a small club.
Arsenal.
He was coaching a big club at that time. Do you know what it takes for someone to look out and say, there is enough in this person for me to take a risk with him? And Arsene Wenger signed him. And that touched my heart. I'm like, in a world where everybody is looking for as much advantage as they can, this was a huge gamble. He didn't know if it will work. In fact, at that time, they were saying Kanu should retire from football completely.
Yes, I remember.
Basically, like, we don't want nobody, and I wouldn't blame the other players. They were like, I don't want anybody to die in my hand. Let him not go and collapse in the pitch now, and they will say, you people know.
You knew.
But Arsene Wenger was like, despite what was being said, he's like,
I'll give him a chance.
Come. And then he came. And then I said, of course, I started following. Kanu Nwankwo was a darling of Nigerian football. And of course, there was no way he would go there. And we were also following him in Ajax when he was there with Finidi.
Yes.
So when he moved to Arsenal, by default, I followed him. I wanted to track
his progress
in Arsenal. And he came into Arsenal. And I started watching this group of black players in a predominantly white league playing champagne football.
Yes.
Champagne football. And you could see this pure white man had no regard for tribalism or if you were good enough, you will play.
Yes.
At that time, you look at that Arsenal team from left to front, blacks everywhere. Thierry Henry, Patrick Vieira, Kolo Toure, Lauren Etamaya, Van Bronckhorst, Ashley Cole, like Edu, even all of them had very tinges of black in that team. Sylvian Whitord, all of them, Anelka, oh God. So I was like, I was seeing myself replicated in that team, in a predominantly white league, in the whitest of white places, England, right? So
I think Arsenal made history being the first team.
The first team to field a first 11 of all blacks.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. They fielded the team with the most blacks. Not because I don't think we've had a history of a black goalkeeper. Yeah. So it was the first team that fielded that. And then so Campbell came and Kolo Toure came and a lot of other black players, Eboué, and it continues to have black players up until recently, right? Mm-hmm. So, but I'm bonded. So even if Arsenal changes to all white today, I'm still going to be there, and I don't think I'm going to change till my eyes close, right? So that's how I got bonded to Arsenal, and then I started following them avidly. So I project what I expect, the ideals I expect of the world on that team. I expect a world that gives you, no matter, that gives you a chance, no matter your color of your skin, it gives you a chance to show what you have to do with it. And everybody needs an Arsene Wenger in their life. And we also need to be Arsene Wenger to other people. Because sooner or later we will get to a point where we might not be in the highest of positions, but we might be in the position to help someone in one way or the other. And that's one thing I think we need to do more of, both as the Nigerian community and as Black Canadians and all that, right? So I guess to answer your question, it's football replicates the ideals that we expect of the world, and the aspirations we expect ourselves to hit. That's okay. That would be my answer to that question. Yes.
In football, in life, we wake up, we see these clubs as they have vast amount of money.
Yes.
And they can give anybody a chance, and they can write off the losses and things like that. What is the connection between looking at somebody and saying, I don't know who this guy is, I've only watched footages of him, but I'm gonna send an agent, let them bring him to the club, let's give him a chance. In our various lives, do we mirror this? Like, we can sit here and say we don't have money. I mean, we work 9 to 5 and things like that. But there are people that will look up to us that we can give a pinky and pull up.
Yes.
Are we doing that in the same way football clubs, irrespective of the fact that they have bigger resources? Are we living, in parallel, making sure that in the places that we can, that we are giving people chances, even with forgiveness? Oh, this person has hurt me, because you see all of this in football. Look at the Mohamed Salah incident.
Yes.
He's apologized, and they'll move on because the agenda is to bring Liverpool up.
Yes.
How does that factor into our personal lives?
Difficult question. Difficult question, because the thing is, I will try as much as possible to draw analogies with football.
Good.
So, again, I would use Fabregas.
Just Fabregas.
I use Fabregas and his Arsenal journey with Arsene Wenger. So, it draws a huge example of how forgiveness plays. Arsene Wenger was a great man, but he was also a human being. And let me use that Fabregas. Fabregas was languishing in the feeder team of Barcelona. And Arsene Wenger, he has an eye for talent, for sure. And he saw him. I was like, this boy is good enough to play
anywhere.
And he went to La Masia and got him. I don't know how many years he played in our feeder before he started training with the senior team. Now we see footages of young boys training with feeder. Like that time, there were no footages for us to watch.
No.
If you were a proper Arsenal fan, there were blogs that had insights into our young stars.
But not as
much as they are today. That they were giving us updates about that's Chinobi Martins is recent. I'm talking of during that. There was Nasser Barazite, there was Cesc Fabregas, there was this other boy Quincy Owusu-Abbey. These were feeders. Chubak. There was J. Emmanuel Thomas.
Right.
A lot of them. If you were a proper Arsenal fan, you track those ones.
Even Wilshere.
Yeah, Wilshere is even recent. Started. These are back in the days feeder boys that we didn't know. We got snips of. People will come on blogs. That time we have trends that like, keep an eye out for this youngster. It's coming up. It's gonna make way. Nicholas Bentner. Then we were hearing rumors about sex, and then I think it was in the first match I think he played was in What's this cup that day? This shield. I think it was a community shield. That was the first game he played, and it was like,
I don't remember now.
My God, who is this Smalley playing? And it was because of the confidence that Fabregas gave Arsene that he sold the mighty Vieira
to Juventus.
To Juventus.
Wow.
So Fabregas has Arsene Wenger to thank for his career. But then
I don't think he would have broken into that
no,
Barcelona team.
No,
that was something else.
He flourished with Arsenal, and then suddenly everybody wanted him. And then when the time came, he abandoned Arsenal and Arsene Wenger to go achieve his dream of playing back for the Barcelona team. Now, I don't think Arsene Wenger ever forgave that. Because when his contract was up
for renewal
in Barcelona, and Barcelona was like, allegedly Barcelona was like, listen, we can afford to let you go if you want to go. Like, if you want to go. And he allegedly he approached Arsene and said, hey, can I come back? And Arsene was like, nah,
bye.
And I believe that was a bad move because he went to Chelsea and helped them to win the league. Should have brought him in. It would have been the easiest transfer we would have had because he would have been coming back
to assist to
right the wrong he did
by leaving.
So I don't think, again, I'm not a footballer, I'm not an agent, but I think that kind of second coming back, that salvation of coming back to help my team after I may have gone and scratched that itch, it would have been probably one of our easiest transfers, and we wouldn't have been hurting to have someone like Fabregas in the team. Whether you bring him in from the bench to change the game or you start him and rest players, but Arsene Wenger said no. Now, that inability to forgive, again, I do not understand the full circumstances around it.
That's it.
But this is what I saw as a fan from the outside. And I understood Arsene Wenger not forgiving him, because me as a fan too, I wouldn't say, as an Arsenal fan, I wouldn't say I've forgiven him completely, because I was like, if Arsenal said they don't want you, must you play in the Premier League? Is there go to Inter Milan now, go somewhere else?
Because there were plenty of clubs wanting him at the time.
But go somewhere else, right? But again, he went to Chelsea and then hurt us even more, because with Chelsea he won the league.
Right.
So that is one of the things why I'm connecting that is, you see, football also teaches us maybe sometimes let go of the hurt and forgive. And if you connect it to our Nigerian community, when I first came into this country, I met a few Nigerians who were like, I would never associate with the Nigerian community. And in my mind, I was like, you are mad. Why would you do that? These are the only people who probably understood you, who knows your struggle, who share the same challenges with you. But as I've stayed here 8 years, I absolutely understand why they did what they did. But then again, you cannot ascribe the bad experiences of one or a bunch of people to a whole plethora of people. It is not, I don't think it's the best way to go, but I'm not going to decide for people who to forgive and who not to forgive and what to forgive. Because even me, sometimes you apply caution when you want to go out of your way to do certain things, because one, you don't want it to be misinterpreted. Two, you just don't want problem. Let's put it that way. You don't want, there's this thing, I'm sorry to use this, but there's this thing that our people say,
yeah,
so that you won't end up doing a good thing and it will come back in the end to bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
So, that was one of the things, and I know a lot of people are applying caution in
giving
chances because of past negative experiences. And the thing about negative experiences, you only need to get one, and then it taints everything else. But 50 million people might be good to you. All you need is just one person to give you that bad experience, and it just taints your view, your perspective, and everything. So you have to make a conscious effort to forgive. And it's the same thing. For example, but then Also, if you look at I would say Arsene Wenger and Thierry Henry, he left to the same Barcelona.
Right.
But I guess the way he left made forgiving him a little bit easier. And then when he was in MLS and he needed a striker, and he was like, and then he was like, Arsene, can I come? And he was like, for sure. Thierry Henry, come over, right?
Do you think that, because these are two different scenarios, the same guy as Wenger, we're not dwelling on him, but
but I mean, because he's the one because Arsenal is the team I followed, I can come up with so many examples about life.
And Wenger, that Arsenal,
it was from his name. That is how synonymous he was with the club. Yes.
Where is achievements? Because at the time that Henry left, he was the highest goal scorer for Arsenal in the club's history. Whether it was acrimonious
or not
for his departure or not, did that play a role? Because at the time Fabregas left, I don't know if he was just this dazzling kid.
He hasn't won anything.
Exactly. So Henry was Fabregas an invisible? No.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
So Henry had won the league unbeaten, but would that, do you think, play a role in Henry coming back and Fabregas not coming back?
I wouldn't know, but I think one of the key things, I don't want us to make the podcast about the Footballogy thing all about Arsenal, but the thing I feel, I'm not sure, but the thing I feel there was the manner of Henry's departure was more matured. I remember Henry made a speech.
Explaining.
He made a speech and said, guys, there are certain things I want to win, notably the Champions League. I don't think he said it specifically, but there are certain things I want to win, and my window to win them is closing. An opportunity to join Barca may not come again. And as much as I love Arsenal, I want to make this move. It doesn't mean I don't love Arsenal anymore. It just means I have ambitions that I want to achieve. And that's what I want to do. And I hope you people will understand it in the end. That was how he left. Fabregas went on strike.
He did.
Fabregas went on strike. And I recall that he was seen watching Formula One when we still had a game, even though he was injured. And as the captain of the team, left a sour taste in the mouth. So eventually, when the move was like, I guess Arsene Wenger was like, if that's where we've gotten to, you can go, and he left. So these are the two differences, and of course, there's also an example to learn from how we react to situations. You might be in an environment where you want to, like if you're resigning from a job, there is this temptation to be vengeful as you are leaving a job, whether in Nigeria or Canada. Here you will be like, you want to use the F words and you want to tell people off, tell people that you have been brimming to tell people off. You are like, I have an opportunity now to tell them, and there is no consequence. That for me is a sign that perhaps
you should go.
Perhaps just leave it civil. If you want to resign, just tender your resignation
and walk
away. Don't burn the bridge. You might not need it in the end, but the thing about leaving that bridge forward is, especially in a place like Canada, the bridge we'll build, whether we use it or not, might end up being the only bridge for people that look like us, or maybe even our children.
I have this guy, that my position, you will feel it very well.
Exactly.
If it's coming from you, bring him.
Exactly. Or even if you didn't recommend anybody, the fact that you left peacefully, went on your own way to your next career, people might say, oh, that guy interviewing is a Nigerian. We once had a Nigerian here. He worked hard, didn't give us any problem. That's part of the gifts you can leave behind for even those you don't know. It's a gift you've left behind for even those you don't know that are also of your ilk. Because if you blow up every bridge and move on to higher things, yes, you may not need it. Fine. But then what it has done is, because we have a society that is they have a way of getting back at people very subtly, in a very genteel way. but they still do get back at you. It does have impact.
Might not be you, but if I
So
see who
if
looks like
Emeka
you,
or Chibaik left this workplace and blew the whole place up, that's fine. It's moved on. But every other person that sounds, looks, behaves, has the same nationality as Emeka will no longer be brought into this environment. It could be your cousin tomorrow coming back to apply for a job, and they'll be like, this sounds Nigerian, right? There's like, put them aside.
One side.
And whether you believe it or not, these things happen, right? So that's part of the thing that I would say the Henry departure and the Sex departure has in play, right? So generally, again, like I said, every single thing has something to teach you. Every single thing. It is your job to say, what is this teaching me?
What am I learning?
What am I learning from it? You know, look at, I mean, okay, for example, I would ask somebody, I mean, football is the biggest university out there. And not just to explain, it doesn't just explain difficult concepts in a simplified way. It also teaches us things about some of those intangible values that help you become successful.
I'm going to ask you a question that will help you explain that point. That points to, jobs and things like that. You see this guy, he's just, somewhere in one obscure place doing his thing. He's interacting with people every day, but he knows that in the next couple of weeks, he's going to pen a contract that will earn him £200,000 a week. He won't say a word. There's no social media, anything. He's not going on splashes. He's just calm. Where does this apply to in our lives when we're looking for jobs or we're knocking on doors of opportunities, big opportunities? There's people who, this is going to happen for me. They start burning bridges, job interviews and things like that. You can look at their behavior and be like, what's up with him? With footballers, it's really hard. Even with the transfer saga, no word. They just maintain composure until the move is announced. How? Please make sense of these two worlds.
Okay. So, excuse me. Let me get some water. So, it's difficult to connect that because one of the things that most professional footballers have that we don't have in our real life is a retinue of social media assistants, personal assistants, coaches, agents. Sometimes these negotiations are happening and they are not even giving the details of the negotiation. They are told
it's happening.
Information.
We're working on it.
Emeka, we are negotiating a contract with Inter Milan. You don't need to bother about the details. When we have an agreement, I'll bring it before you, explain it to you. If you like it, you sign. If you don't like it, you don't sign.
Just play football.
Just go and focus on your football. So when you ask them, most times they can actually claim plausible deniability because they really don't know. No. And there are very few footballers who are their own personal agents. So we unfortunately do not have the fortune of having those retinue of people coordinating us. Nobody is saying, Emeka, we are applying for jobs for you. We have done interviews for you. When we get the offer letter, we will bring it for you so that you will sign the one you like.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be nice. But you're the one going through your interviews. You're the one
prepping yourself.
You're the one that goes for an interview, and you know the ones that you feel, I think I really made good impact in this one, and it might happen. Most times, invariably does not. Or the one you're like, I'm not sure, let me move on.
Didn't do quite well.
And then suddenly they call you and say, get us your references and we are ready to offer you something. So it's difficult to connect that, but the only thing I would say in that particular phase is one of the very famous, I don't know where that phrase keeps coming up in football. Stay humble.
I don't know where it came from.
I don't know where it came from, but it's being used in football circles a lot. Stay humble. In wins,
Erling Haaland,
or something. Be humble or something. He said.
Yeah.
So whether you win, you draw, you lose, it is not the end of life. and it shouldn't signal the end of your struggle to get where you are going to. So even if you are successful, you finally get that 250,000 tech job. Still be humble. Celebrate it. If you want, maybe with your close friends, with your families. If you don't want, but if you feel like blowing it up on social media is your own way. Some people blow it up on social media so that perhaps their success stories will teach people not to give up. And that's also a valid way to go about it. Other people might see it as, we don't see you now, you don't get a job. Why did they tell us? Go do your job. But some other persons might look at that and say, oh, if this person can do it, perhaps I can. Let me motivate myself. Because when, for example, let me use myself as a black person. If someone is explaining a concept to me, saying, oh, you can be an astrophysicist, or you can be this, you can be that, and the person is a white man, I'm like, do I have the same opportunities as he has to become an astrophysicist? But when Philip Emegwali is telling you, fellow black man that grew up in maybe his village is few centimeters away from your own, I'm like, okay, Philip Emegwali can do this thing. Who am I not to do it? So in football circles as well, there are people who are like that. There are people who are flamboyant, right? I don't want to name names, but there are people who sign, people like, people like C. Ronaldo making a stupendous amount of money. People like Messi making stupendous amounts of money. He just lives his life very simple. C might be a little bit on the social media side, doesn't make him bad, but that's his own style. Some people don't like him for that. Some people don't like him for that, but that's your goddamn problem. That's the way he lives his life. I'm sure some part of him seeks to inspire. The fact that he's still 40, playing active football, showing us exercises. There was a time I remember, I think it was during a World Cup interview or World Club interview, that he pushed aside a bottle of Coke and took water, and the share price of Coke dropped. That is power that nobody can explain. Whether he likes you or not, that is power. Do you know what that means? Do you know that what a person
4%?
I don't even know, but the fact that he pushed Coca-Cola aside and said aqua, and said water, I don't want that one, and that one, that dropped the share price of Coca-Cola. Because everyone was like, you see, he's saying don't drink Coca-Cola. Why am I drinking? For example, but he did that, and he perhaps didn't do it to demarket Coca-Cola, but that is him influencing in some sort of way to tell you,
drink water,
drink water, leave everything else, drink the natural one. So some people that don't like, people like Messi might not do it. He might not touch the Coca-Cola,
but he will leave it.
He will leave it there, order for water. It won't make as much noise. He will just order water, leave it beside the Coca-Cola, drink his water, and go his way. Or he might decide, I don't have energy. Leave the Coke where it is. I will just leave it there too. And then when I'm done doing my press conference, I'll walk out. Nothing will happen to Coca-Cola's share price. So that's how it is, and to connect it, kind of back to what I was trying to say about football being a university that a lot of people need to harness. There are so many things, like so many. Okay, for example, a typical footballer. If you want to go to university, for example, let's say you don't have any language skills. I don't know how long it takes to study a language in abroad, but I know that in Nigeria, it's a 4-year course, especially for those studying French. It's a 4-year course. If you are studying even Igbo, which is not an international language, it's a 4-year course before you get a degree. Now, I'll ask you, how many degrees do you think JJ should have?
Wow, he went to Turkey, he played in England.
Let me not stress you.
Yeah.
JJ Okocha can speak French.
Yes, he played in
He
PSG.
can speak German.
He played in Germany.
He can speak conversational Turkey, and he can speak English.
4.
So in terms of academic excellence,
Polyglot.
you should give him 4 degrees of 16 years, because it's not just
Wow.
it doesn't have a paper.
Wow.
But he can speak it, he can converse with it, he can hear it, he can write it. 4 different languages. I didn't want to go with people like Asen that can speak 6 languages. People like Ateta. Which university did Ateta attend? he can speak 5.
Wow.
Look at marketing. When you talk about marketing, how many marketing degrees does Cristiano Ronaldo have? We just spoke about how he was able to market and demarket in a single move. Which other marketing power is bigger than that?
Wow.
Does he have a degree?
No. Just
I just mentioned something about Arsene Wenger and what he did to sports nutrition. Is he a professor of nutrition? No. But he single-handedly changed the culture of how players eat and what they eat and how they are fed to make sure that they optimize their playing career. Right before he did it in 1996, before even sports science, sports nutrition became a big deal. That I'm sure they have doctors and PhD holders now in sports nutrition and all that.
Yeah. Wow.
Do they have degrees in that? But they have made valuable impact, right? Look at someone like, let me give you an example. Someone like Juninho Pernambucano,
the free kick specialist.
The free kick specialist. Does he have a degree in physics?
No.
Mm-hmm. Does he have a degree in mathematics? Wow. But I'm yet to see anybody. I'm sorry, I'm not vast in that field. But whether you're a physicist or you're a non-physicist, you will use your eyes every day to watch him put physics in play.
The flight of the ball.
This guy scored 77 free kicks in his career. 77.
Wow.
He scored 44 free kicks. He scored a total of 100 goals for Lyon. 44 as a midfielder. 44 of those goals were free kicks.
So he
goals. I'm not talking of. Remember, he played soccer when all these XG and stats have not gone crazy. I don't even want to start calculating the assists that he must have made from free kicks that he floated in, people headed in, crossing, because he was their free kick taker, their penalty taker, their corners. So just direct free kick scoring for Lyon, 44. Wow. So if you are saying physics, you may have read physics and you have PhD in physics, but I am sorry, Juninho can practicalize physics. He studies the ball. He knows where to apply pressure to the ball and what part of the he will calculate the elevation of those the people that are standing in front of him, the elevation of the where the goalkeeper is positioned, and then in his mind he will calculate, how do I elevate this ball so that it goes above the wall and gets dips into where I wanted it dip, so that the goalkeeper will not get it. So that the goalkeeper will not get it. And he did it successfully 77 times.
So it's not an accident. It's not like a fluke, one-time thing.
No.
Like me, I know I scored 1 goal from a corner. That's one. I know it was a fluke.
It's not even easy to score. But people are scoring it
77
times.
That's mastery
of free kick.
Wow.
So you see teams now, even in I ask people, sometimes you see football teaches you look at mathematics, even the mathematics. Everybody knows the dimensions of the pitch. He knows where 18 is. That's why when you get into the 18 box, how you tackle and how you evade tackles becomes different.
Yeah.
Because if you blow me breeze inside 18, I'm falling down. I know what I'm going to get. But if it is at 19, I ain't falling. I'm pushing myself to get into 18
yards.
There's a difference between 19 and 18 in football.
The goal, the penalty Arsenal got with what's the team? During
Timber.
He started outside.
But where he finally collapsed was inside the 18 box, and he changed the dynamics of the result, what he was looking for.
So positioning.
There are things now that will tell you, if it's a set piece from 20 yards out, they have somebody that is playing, they're taking it. If it's a set piece from 25 yards out, they have someone that will take it. If it is from 30 yards out, they have someone that will take it. If it is beyond halfway line, goalkeeper is your responsibility. So there is mathematical application in what you do in the pitch. You know what times to make your substitutions. You know when first half is game and how many minutes you have to rest. Everything is mathematically timed. Everything. So whether it is chemistry, you know how people react in certain weather conditions. Now in football, we track people's load, stress load.
Yeah.
That is the frontier of understanding the human metabolism, the human body. They can track you now and know that you have played, and we have data. If you look at footballers, they wear this thing that look like brass.
Yes.
I used to think, what is that thing?
Data collection.
It's a data collection thing. And the very neck here, that at the very point here, there is a chip.
Yep.
Embedded in that thing that they wear like a harness
Your heart rate,
that tracks everything, and at the end of every game they pull it out and put it in the system and track your data. There are parameters that have been set. The moment you push past those parameters, they will know that you are in the red zone and you are very likely to get injured, or your less managed load. That is football pushing the frontier of science.
Wow.
But you are not giving football that
credit.
You want somebody, if somebody that is wearing a white coat
says these things
with a clipboard and goggles and glasses is explaining, so load is this, everybody will say, oh, professor. But when a coach is telling you,
Maresca is doing it.
When a coach is telling you, I heard this term before, that was under Arsene Wenger, when he was speaking about, I'm sorry I'm using too many Arsenal because I'm sorry, but I only stick to my subject matter that I know of. Arsene Wenger there was a time the Brazilian Denilson was not playing for a while, and he was asked in an interview, he said, Denilson is having growing pains. Do you know that till now, sometimes when my kids exhibit certain things, my brain goes that maybe it could be growing pain. I think the first day I mentioned it to my wife was like, what the heck is growing pain? I've mentioned it to several people so many times. I'm like, what is growing pains? I say, there is a challenge that when a child hits that peak period of accelerated growth, there are pains that is associated with that, because the body is stretching and building and reconstructing at tremendous rates. It will come at a price. Right. Some of that price that the children will pay at that growing stage is some of the pains. Might not be able to explain it. But I didn't know it. Nobody told me from the medical field. It was from Arsene Wenger, who was just a coach, that I heard that there is growing pains. And now I know that it does happen.
People complain about Kai Havertz. Then there was an article I read, and it said at the time he was playing in Germany, he was fantastic as an attacking midfielder.
Yes.
When he started struggling in Chelsea, he had a growth spurt.
Yes.
So he didn't understand his running patterns, but now in Arsenal, he's starting to find his rhythm until injury
struck. So the thing is that there is growing pains, and then the impact of age also, and consistent injuries also impact the way you run. Like Abu Dhabi, for example, after his ankle was broken, he was never the same again, because that injury changed his gait, how he ran, how he walked, and Eduardo, of course, we know how that happened.
What's his name? Isak.
And Isak just got crunched. Got crunched.
That tackle was, because as an Arsenal fan, we wanted Isak, and when that injury happened, I was like, okay, I wish him speedy recovery in December 2026. But then I went back and watched the footage, and
it was a cruncher. No. But I would have to say, I don't think he went in with malicious intent.
You never know.
I don't know, but it was a cruncher. The moment he couldn't shake it off to go celebrate his goal, I knew he was bad. I knew it was bad. But and that is part of those what I call vicissitudes of life. Like, look at him just coming back. He's almost about to integrate and show what he can do. Boom. He's going to be out for months. That's how. And when you are hearing from John Cross, when you are hearing from Ornstein, the great Oracle Ornstein, that someone is out for months. Baba, you are out for months. I'm so, like, if we see him in August 2026, it might be a miracle.
So Did Sweden make it to the World Cup?
I think I don't know if Sweden made it.
So he would miss that because
very likely
you're not
he's
playing. He's not Diego Maradona.
I don't know if he's going to make it. Right?
Back and say we want
some like it depends. If months is, I'm hoping it's just like 3 months. Because if that 3 months, you can use 1 month to rehabilitate and get back to some sort of fitness before you can get on the pitch. Because if they rush you in,
wow,
that's how football is, and that's part of those things you need to learn. Sometimes. So the game is so exciting when you are studying it, not just when you are watching it to be passionate. That's why sometimes I get frustrated, but then I tell when you are talking with just a passionate fans who is saying X is not playing well, Y is not playing well, this team is rubbish, this coach is rubbish, this one is this one, this one is this one, and I come from the point of, have you studied your team? Have you studied your team? Have you studied
transfers Arsenal will not do? There's transfers Chelsea will not do.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter how good it is.
Yes.
There's transfers Man United will look at it.
No. So that's the thing that you need to study your team. Every coach has a philosophy. Every coach has a philosophy. Every team has a philosophy. And some lucky teams have a philosophy that they stick with all through. Right? Barcelona, their philosophy. It's not going to change.
Real Madrid has
it's not going to
philosophy.
Change. Holland used to have the total football philosophy under Johan Cruyff. They've changed it now to whatever it is, whoever the new coach is. But Barcelona is very likely to continue with the tiki-taka, expansive, expressive, sexy football. That's their mantra. We have modified as an Arsenal team. We have modified to come in between pragmatism because we want to win the big ones. But I know that if Arsene Wenger had continued to be there, he would continue to favor his small, technical, creative, beautiful footballers over the brute strength that a Premier League winner must have in the team. We rarely saw a 6-footer in the Arsenal team. Rarely. And if we had them, it was in the defensive side. Everything from defensive midfield up was just, was he creative? Does he make football exciting? If he doesn't, that is as a Wenger's perhaps number one philosophy. If you're not making me enjoy football, I don't care about you. Right? So and in the earlier parts of his career, he was lucky to get those who combined both physicality and finesse in the Patrick Vieira's, in the when you look at people like Beckham, Henry, these guys are big. When you watch them on the TV, you think they're not big. People like Henry, Beckham, Gilberto Silva, Patrick Vieira, Sol Campbell, even Kolotore, Yeman, those guys are huge. Lauren Etamemaya, Emmanuel Ebue, Adebayor. These guys are tall. But when we evolve to the Alexander Hlebs, the Cesc Fabregas, the Thomas Rosicky, the Santiago Cazorla, or whatever his name is, Santi Cazorla, when we started moving to the technical ones, we were playing sexy, beautiful football. But when it mattered, the Stokes, the Newcastles knew how to kind of put the fear of God in you and just say, you know what, I don't want in them under some other guys. They know what to do, right? So physicality. That is one of the things about the game that you also have to learn. And my lessons from all those Arsene Wenger years was that sometimes brute force is necessary to break through.
Yes.
Sometimes brute force is necessary to break through. You might have a philosophy and you have a choice. Do you stick with your philosophy to the very bitter end and hope that it justifies? Because the truth is that whatever victory you achieve following a noble philosophy is, I would say, is twice as sweet.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I know that Real Madrid won the league 5 consecutive times, or won the Premier League 5, the Champions League 5. But see, that Barcelona tiki-taka, those clips are the clips that keeps surfacing on the internet every time. That's the clips that you keep seeing every time. Nobody is showing you the 5 consecutive brute force Ronaldo will take off score, or Gareth Bale will take off score, or Ramos will come in and head in the 89th minute. I'm not saying those victories are not great. I'm just saying, which clips do you see more on social media these days that people reminisce about? It is that Barcelona tiki-taka, the finals against Man United, and how they were pulling JS back all over the pitch and he could not smell the ball. In fact, Rio Ferdinand has done a lot of podcasts about that match and how they themselves were exasperated. Like,
what happened?
We feel come or not just we just come watch match. Like, what did they happen? They basically were not seeing the ball. I think Rio Ferdinand once mentioned that what's this guy that was playing defensive midfield for them? Busquets at halftime was telling him and Vigis, so you Vigis, boom 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 boom. Basically, he said the man was telling him that you people keep playing football, you get ball, you throw it off front so that Rooney will those people. It will not work. That's basically him using that to tell him, you Vigis, boom 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 boom. In the final, somebody is telling you, boom, 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 we don't work here, sir. We will finish you. And that was how they were like, if you don't have the ball, there is no ball to boom. So we will keep it until we are ready to score. It was in that final that the shortest man in the pitch scored a header. Do you know how disoriented? Do you know how over Vigic and the defender
and put the ball past Edwin van der Sar.
And all of them are 6-footers. So what happened? It is disorientation. It is, in our language, you say it is aju. It is aju. Because you were playing so out of place that you didn't know who was marking who. Nobody. That was wow. Guardiola did not play any 9. There was no 9 to brutalize. There was no Heskey. There was no Peter Crouch. There was no Henry Badge. Everybody was running everywhere. You were not tackling anybody. Before you look around, David Villa is on the 11th side. Messi has fallen deep. Not even interested in you. He's not coming your way. When he will come, you will not know. When he finally snuck in, nobody saw him. Shortest man on the pitch headed the ball over into the net in a Champions League final. Do you know how disoriented a pairing of Ferdinand and Vijay is to allow him to have that header? So now only them know what they see for that match that they cannot finish.
Anyway, wow.
So that's the thing about the game. You need to understand that sometimes when you follow a principle to a sweet end, the joy is twice as sweet. But most often than not, that fairy tale does not happen for everybody. Unfortunately, that fairy tale, like it happened for a few people. It happened for Barcelona's Pep. It happened for Arsene Wenger with the Invisibles. Remember, there was a season before that. The English press were calling Arsene Wenger the comical Wenger, who posited that he had a team that could go a season unbeaten.
He actually said it.
He did say it.
And did it.
He did say it a season before the Invincibles.
Most people don't know this.
Most people don't know this. Most people don't know this. In a press conference, do you know the balls you have to have on you to say it in a press conference against an English press that is biased against you in support of their guy was on top. Yes, aggressively dominant. And he said, my team has the potential to go a season unbeaten. And then he did it. For me, if there's nothing else, I'm grateful to Arsene Wenger. If it was for that, because at the end of the day, when we are doing the trophy carrying, he had a shirt that someone from the fan gave him. Printed a shirt with his name there and what the English press wrote when he made that pitch. Comical Wenger said his team will go unbeaten, and he held up. That was the t-shirt he was holding up.
Wow.
So, what am I trying to say? In soccer or in football, follow your philosophy, but you have to also be pragmatic. Most often than not, your philosophy might not get you to the finish line. Do you need to figure? And then that's another thing. Football also makes you know. You need to understand the stratas. What defines success for you? You need to define it. For some of us, we've not defined it.
Right.
A lot of us are struggling with that. What defines success for you? What is the philosophy you want to use and get to it? And then what is your strategy and what is your tactics? Because most of the times we mix it up. We call strategy tactics and we call tactics strategy. For example, let me use football to define all form. Let's say success. Let's use Sunderland. Let's use Sunderland this season. I don't want to talk about the past. Let's use Sunderland this season. What is Sunderland's primary aim coming to this season?
Stay afloat.
Success for them is we don't get relegated this season. That's success for them.
They just came up.
So what is their philosophy? Their philosophy is pragmatic football, being defensively sound,
aggressive, solid,
very tight.
We're not going to get pulled
that
out
is,
of position.
we are not here to play tiki-taka. We are here to ensure that we get a result.
Yeah.
That is our philosophy.
Yeah.
It may change next year, but for this
now,
year, that's their philosophy. What is their strategy? Their strategy is a defensive-minded setup. You have to be defensively strong. Defensively strong. First, everybody must defend together. Everybody must attack together. Nobody falls behind. Nobody gets left behind. Everybody must do it, and it figures in the kind of look at the purchases they made in the season. They bought Granit Xhaka, very veteran, influential midfielder, defensive midfielder who knows how to coordinate the Premier League. They bought Mukiele from I think PSG. They bought Alderete from Spain. These are proper defenders. And then they bought Ballard, funny enough, who was an Arsenal loan player, an Arsenal academy product, the one that they did the defense. Yeah, Ballard. So there's Ballard. So they make, and then they have a ball playing a goalkeeper who was good with his feet and distribution as well. So that's their philosophy. Now what is that? Sorry, that's their strategy. Most defensive solidity. What is their strategy? What is their tactics? Tactics is their day by day, match by match.
Changes
now,
on the
what are we doing? Against Arsenal, what are we doing? Against a fellow small team, are we playing the same way? So they know they will alternate slightly their tactics. They might say, Arsenal, 5-4-1, please choke everywhere. Then if we have a chance to go forward, we'll go forward. If we don't have a chance, just make sure you don't concede. But if we are playing Burnley, fellow relegation stragglers, that's the 3 points that can be got. Let's change it. We can go to 4-3-3. Let's open up and see. These are. So it is tactics. You take it game by game. Strategy is your overall plan. Philosophy is what guides you, and that also, it all arrows up to what you have defined as your success for that year, right? So when there are tactics against us, I was watching. There's this thing that Sky Sports do. They do an analysis of a match after I've done, and then they were saying what happened was one of the reasons why they were able to get that draw against us was that the first goal, because we didn't have Gyökeres, their defenders had the confidence to drop in and come and cause mayhem in our central defense. And I think that match we didn't play it with Gabriel.
Gabriel was there.
Was Gabriel there?
Because he was supposed to clear a header.
Okay, yeah.
But we didn't have Gyökeres.
So we didn't have Gyökeres. So there was no defender to stress them out.
Two goals were scored by defenders.
One was the attacker, the Dutch guy, forgotten his name. But the first one was the Ballard flicked it and all that. But that guy was our major problem because we couldn't deal with his aerial prowess, and that caused a lot of chaos. And when balls drop in your penalty box, it's a 50-50 chance. Just like it happened in Aston Villa. It dropped in the box, fell for the guy, he jabbed it in. Simple. That's how it happens. If someone goes for an area, it drops for someone. And remember, their second balls, they are facing your goal. You are defending it. So it's easier for them to kind of attack it. You are supposed to repel it. It's difficult a little bit. That's why they play a lot of let's go make it difficult in the first ball so that if second balls drop to us, it's 50-50. We'll jab it. That post is surprisingly big. If you're a soccer player, you know that post that is difficult to score against. It is surprisingly big. So it could go anywhere, it could deflect, anything could happen. So that's football helps you provide clarity on some of these amorphous topics. When we talk about philosophy, when we talk about tactics, when we talk about strategy, when we talk about success. For us as a layman, without football, if I ask you to start defining these things and to connect them all together, you will use big words that may not make sense to both you and me. But if I've used football to explain it for you. Tactics 4-5-1. This one, strategy is defensive solidity. Philosophy is survival. Success is make sure you don't get relegated. Very simple.
Easy. Okay. Wow. This has been the conversation, and this is just the first episode. We're gonna keep doing this, and we're gonna keep drilling down and using Footballogy to think the game and live the lessons. So, before we wrap this up, could you tell our listeners what was your experience with the Agege Bread podcast?
The podcast is, if it didn't. Again, it's not about the Agege podcast. It's about the person behind the Agege podcast. We've had several conversations, and Emeka has been someone who seems to be interested in some of the nuanced discussions that I'm also interested in. So when he decided to go big on the podcast, listen, guys, I can't begin to tell you what they say. Listen, anything you see being put out there in social media. It's not jokes, bro. Because a lot of things go into this thing. The education I got behind the scenes before we went live, it was an eye opener. So this thing is not an easy thing. It costs a lot in time and training and in money to set up whatever you see. So I'm very grateful that he was willing and excited to share the platform with me. To enable me to speak about this thing I'm very passionate about, which is Footballogy. And I hope that, like I've mentioned, we will go on a journey where we would serve the academic equivalence of what I want to achieve is being a lecturer. But we're not lecturing, we're just trying to direct people to something you're already doing. Just tweak the way you watch it. Move away from passion, not move away from passion basically, but just as you are passionate, try and look at every other thing surrounding the football and see things that are worthy of being studied. Values, especially those intangibles. When you talk about discipline, versatility, and as we go on, we will take some of these topics and digest it in individually and in detail. But there are so many intangibles that in today's world is not being taught enough, because those who know about it are gatekeeping it because they don't want everybody to have it. But some of those values that you need to succeed, talk about discipline, versatility, how do you open up yourself to understanding the world, and some of those qualities that you need to succeed, a lot of them are buried in football, and you watch it every day. Like I said, I think my first record of really being invested in a game is 1990. How many years away are we talking about here?
90.
That's almost
30.
Almost 30, 36. I don't know how many years. 36 years. And that's me. I've been studying
football. Even
football.
count time in World Cup.
Yes.
What was that in 90?
That kind of thing. So Italian 90.
I can remember vividly. I think 94 was the first
US 94.
I watched.
Yes.
I can remember what I was doing, where I was, who I was around, and things like that.
Yes.
Very clear.
Very clear.
Because I was watching football. I remember waking up by 3 a.m.
to go watch it.
Nigeria versus Bulgaria.
Which gave us so much excitement. So anyway, we're digressing. So the Agege podcast is primed to do wonders, and I'm happy to partner Footballogy with Agege Bread to make sure that we provide whatever slice of education we can, to put things in the podcast space that would help us as well, because as we're talking about this, we're also educating ourselves and learning. And the great thing about this podcast as well is we are running without scripts, as you can see. So it is organic. It's organic. We're running without scripts. It's just conversation. We're trying to draw examples based on on years of research that we have done in football, and that's what's playing out here, and that's what we plan to continue to dish out in successful episodes that would come. So thank you very much to Emeka of Agege Podcast, and I would say look forward to seeing more of us. Thank you very much.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So we're gonna wrap this up, but we'll push out more.
Yeah.
This is the Agege Bread Podcast. My name is Emeka, and we've just had the first episode on Footballogy, thinking the game, living the lessons. Until the next time that we do this, bye-bye.
All right, guys. Bye. Take care.
This is Footballogy.